Welcome to another That's What They Said, a podcast where we question the questionable lyrics of your favorite songs. Scott Spinelli, Sarina Morales. I write sins, not tragedies. Panic! Exclamation point at the disco.
I think you misspoke. It's panic at the disco.
Or are we supposed to, did they expect people, if we add this little mark here, they'll really emphasize the panic part.
Oh, yeah.
What a wild damn song. That's what I'd like to say.
Okay, so here's where I start with this song. First off, right from the beginning, you hear those chimes, and I'm anxious right away after that. Like, dun 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 dun. I'm anxious from second one. In the millisecond the song starts, I already don't like it. I'm nervous already.
It's like Jaws music at a pool.
Sweating. Look at this. This is how I feel. I can see my reflection in my own sweat. That's how nervous I am when I listen to this song. So that's my first thing.
Okay. Yeah. It is a sort of suspect or like anticipatory sound of like, are you gonna throw something at me?
Yeah, it makes you a little anxious, but in a good way though. In a good way though, right? Like,
the song is catchy. This is the second single on their debut album. A Fever, You Can't Sweat Out, which is it's a great album. Accurate. The album came out in 2005. The song hit in January 2006. This music video won MTV Video Music Award Video of the Year.
I want to get into the video, but I do have some background on it that I think you'll enjoy.
Okay, yeah, I like when you do that stuff. And it reached number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100. So.
Okay, so my first thought was, did you like this song?
I think I did, and then I think it got really overplayed, and I was like, no more.
Yeah, but my point is you listened to this song.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, same here. It's not like this is not the kind of music that I think either of us are super, super into, but I like it, and I'm glad to hear that you do too. So I say that only because I only vaguely know of them. Like if they had 5 albums or 10 or 1 or 2, I wouldn't know, right? So my first thought about them when I'm like pulling together what we're doing for this was, man, this group is a Fall Out Boy clone, right? So their songs have super long titles, right? And the sounds kind of like them. Turns out they were signed by Fall Out Boy's label. They sent a demo basically to either Pete Wentz himself from Fall Out Boy, or somehow Pete Wentz got a hold of it or whatever. But so that's not just a coincidence. That's number 1.
You hire the people that look like you.
Exactly.
Literally.
And that's why we work together. I suppose work is a really liberal term here.
You have a pernil and mofongo t-shirt.
I do. Mine's in English, unfortunately. It just says pork and fried plantains. That'll be a funny joke for the people listening to this one. But yeah. So the second thing is, this is my fun little nug, my Denver nug of the beginning portion of our pod. So the 2 founding members went to Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas, Nevada, which when I heard that, I was like, that sounds really familiar. Why does it sound familiar? Joey Gallo went to Bishop Gorman.
Go figure.
Yeah, not at the same time.
Former Yankee, now Dodger, who decided to start hitting baseball.
Yes, immediately. And so last 2 fun nugs, they started off as a Blink-182 cover band locally.
Oh.
And they signed their deal without having ever performed a live show, apparently. Like an actual show. They had never done it. So those are some panic at the disco fun facts.
Well, you should only be able to say it that way.
You have to shout it. That's the only way to do it. It's in lowercase, like the beginning of Jacob deGrom's name.
It's parentheses.
Yes. Panic. Panic with a question mark. Maybe panic.
But we're at the disco.
Yeah, but just to be clear, where you can find us? Discotheque.
Did you like the music video? Because I went and looked at other songs. Okay, other music videos that were out at the same year that could have gotten voted for Video of the Year for MTV, and it was like Hips Don't Lie. Like,
but did this win or just get nominated?
This won. Yeah, I was like, okay. The gist of the music video, like it's sort of like a circus themed wedding.
I have another word for it: horror film. I was,
Yeah,
I hated
the
every
funky
second of it.
eye
Uh-huh.
paint, on the like their eyes were closed and they still had eyes like that. That was a little. Maybe they won for that. I've never
It
really seen
felt like, it felt to me like, you know how like new age horror films, like movies like
Ah,
Midsommar, I don't know how to pronounce it, Midsummer,
yeah,
that
that one.
movie,
Yeah,
Get Out, these movies where like there's no knives in the whole movie, but
yeah,
it's still a horror film. Like
yeah,
nobody actually gets killed.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I thought this was. I was like, this is horrifying in every, like there's just people with like faces painted on and masks, and then a guy with stilts comes, like walking in,
You're
and
right.
there's clowns, and
I mean,
there's
the marriage died, but outside of that, maybe nothing. Yeah. Or
I
did the marriage die?
hated this music video.
Oh,
Hated.
it won. It won.
And everyone was staring at you for just like a beat too
But
long.
not because their eyes were closed.
Yes, it's so uncomfortable. Hated it. Hated it.
Ugh,
Had you
okay.
seen the music video prior to this? I had never seen it.
I I think when I saw it, I was like, okay, I'd seen this before, but it wasn't like I was like, wow, this music video is amazing. Never, no.
Fresh batch of terror for me today. Just
Yeah.
like serving it up. Fresh terror.
Did,
I'll have nightmares from that video tonight.
did you know the background of the title of the song? Did you look into this at all? It's just
Oh, yes. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
very weird. I'm pulling this straight from, I believe, Wikipedia, and then
I
it's
believe
source.
it's a Douglas Copeland. No.
Yeah, Douglas Copeland's
Copeland.
novel Shampoo Planet.
I've read another one of his books. I had heard of him before. I have not read Shampoo novel.
Shampoo Planet.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, and the main character Tyler Johnson says, I'm writing a list of tragic character flaws on my dollar bills with a felt pen. I am thinking of the people in my universe and distilling for each of these people the one flaw in their character that will be their downfall, the flaw that will be their undoing. What I write are not sins, I write tragedies. And then that's how they got the freaking title of the thing. But they didn't really give credit. So unless you're looking up deep dive, unless you're listening to this podcast,
which obviously, people are by the tens.
Oh yeah. Ooh, we're big. Now we're on YouTube, so it's big.
Is this one gonna be on YouTube? This is on. We're already on right now.
Yeah.
Right, they're hearing this. This is on YouTube already.
It's very meta right now.
Well, because this isn't live. But additionally, maybe it is. That's not how. No, that's not how technology works.
I don't think so. You've been kicked off by now.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is, are you a fan of Fall Out Boy at all?
That was the other thing. I went and looked at their songs and their albums. That wasn't like, I got their album or anything. I don't know any of their albums, but I know a lot of their songs.
Oh yeah. And the thing with Fall Out Boy too is, right, like the Fall Out Boy is like the opposite of Mos Def in more ways than one. But in that Fall Out Boy, to me, is the kind of group that, like, if you like one Fall Out Boy song, you probably like them all. And then when they would release new albums, you were excited because it was a pretty consistent bet that they were going to give you what you were looking for.
Yeah.
Every Mos Def album was like a completely new experience. And if you liked one, that did not necessarily indicate that you were going to like the next one, right? So, and I applaud both sides of it. One side just does the same thing and just churns it out. Another side is sort of more leaning into the creative expression. Yeah. The reality is that even though I like Mos Def more, I kind of enjoyed Fall Out Boy albums more on the whole because I knew what I was getting. That's all to say. Okay. Sorry, but that's all to say. To your point about long ass titles, can I read some titles for you? Disloyal order of a water of buffaloes. Headfirst slide into Cooperstown on a bad bet. This ain't a scene. It's an arms race. Everybody knows that song. This ain't a scene. It's a goddamn arms race. I'm like a lawyer with the way I'm always trying. This is so long on my iTunes.
Yeah.
I have to move the slide.
Stretch it out.
I'm like a lawyer with the way I'm always trying to get you off. Parentheses. Me and you.
The freaking parentheses, man.
The takeover. The break's over. Don't you know who I think I am? The afterlife of the party.
Man, these are long.
I've got all this ringing in my ears and none on my fingers.
They've read a lot of novels, clearly.
Yeah. So anyway, So.
Well, we can get into the song lyrics now that we've read all of their songs on, on their album. So the song, I'm sure you all are very aware, but the song takes place at a wedding. The groom, he hears that the bride is cheating on him from a discussion that's going on between a bridesmaid and a server of some sort.
Okay, so that's my first question.
Yeah.
All right. It starts off with, and I can't help but to hear. No, I can't help but to hear an exchanging of words. What a beautiful wedding. What a beautiful wedding, says a bridesmaid to a waiter.
Yeah.
But how does the waiter know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this woman such a her cheating is so out there that the
waiter
servers
knows
at this venue know?
Yeah.
You've been to weddings. They don't know who's getting married. They don't care.
But I used to be a waiter, and I knew a lot about the people.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, you hear everything. You're like, oh, that table and that table, they know each other.
Oh, that's right. I remember coming to see you at that place.
42nd Street or the one on West 4th Street?
No, the 42nd Street one.
Yep, that one. 42nd.
What was that called?
Pershing Square. It was right underneath.
Underneath
the bridge for the 42nd. Yeah, Grand Central Station.
Central Station, right there.
It has a sign of the busiest breakfast in New York. Why? I thought I'll serve here.
Yeah, I'll serve.
Make myself feel better.
And everyone knows that people tip really well at breakfast. So
right. Yeah, all the internationals where tipping is not a thing.
Yeah.
It's good. They set me up well. Okay.
Yeah.
Why the waiter knows this? But yes, and then the point of this was that the groom hears it, and he's just like, well, at least I know because I'm gonna handle this with poise and rationality.
Okay, so hold on. I got something even before that. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Okay.
How about the line right after that where he goes, and yes, but what a shame, the poor groom's bride is a whore. It's so aggressive. Like,
yeah, right. You jump from aggressive. Yeah.
What a beautiful wedding. Too bad she's a whore.
Yeah.
Like, calm down, my man. Like, why does this bother you?
Yeah. I mean, yes, I have a new meaning of poise and rationality from this song, but totally, you don't have to go so. I mean, it was like a little aggressive, although that's what makes the song, I think, really catchy.
I also had no idea that those words were the words until today, when I looked up the lyrics. I thought it was poisoned rationality. And I thought that made enough sense to me that like your rationality has been poisoned after
that sounds way more logical.
Yeah. I never knew lyrics to the song. Poise and rationality.
One of the lyrics that stood out to me was, haven't you people ever heard of closing the goddamn door? Like, I think of using maybe the bathroom, like, and closing the door. I don't necessarily know that would be a response if I heard, something weird. I'd be like, hey, haven't you ever heard of closing the goddamn door? Like, no, what if the doors aren't that thick and you kind of hear things anyway? I don't know if that's going to solve.
And if it's gotten to a point that the waiter knows, let me tell you something.
Maybe he should hear it.
Yeah, and also the doors aren't the issue. It's bigger than the doors. Am I right? Like, I get it. You should probably keep the door closed, that kind of thing. But if it's made its way to the wait staff, chances are you're done.
You're done. Well, right. I mean, like, what was it? No, it's much better to face these kinds of things with a sense of poise and rationality. Like, the only reason it's better to face these kinds of things with that is because you don't want to end up arrested. Like, you're going to lose your, like, instead of like, hold on a second. Like, was this written by a therapist, or maybe they just did a lot of meditation? They're going into their wedding. If you found out the person you're about to marry is a whore, I don't know if I'm gonna think poise and rationality.
Also, when they say it's better to face these things. First of all, what kind of things? Like, there's so many of these things. And second of all, wouldn't it be better to, like you said, wouldn't it be better to just? To me, there's two ways to handle this. I'd rather either not know forever, or find out before the wedding. I don't want to know at the venue. It's embarrassing. The waiters and everybody calling my wife a whore.
Yeah, no, it's not.
The guy doing the ice sculpture knows that my wife's a whore. Everybody knows.
Everyone.
The raw bar attendant knows. They all know.
The raw bar.
Yeah. I always wonder if I ever get married. Which, come on, I mean, look at me.
Right.
I always thought it'd be a really funny gag to have a raw bar that's just raw chicken. Everybody's expecting clams and oysters and shrimp and such. No. We got chicken tenders uncooked.
Every time I laugh, I think of Irv Gotti now.
You sound just like him.
Oh man.
Anyway.
But yeah, anyway, and then he goes, well, in fact, look at it this way. I mean, technically our marriage is saved. Bruh. I mean, this call, and then he's like, this calls for a toast.
Didn't they get over it really fast? Like,
I think he's drunk at this point. Like, you know what? We're fine. We're gonna offer him a shot. Don't take champagne. Like,
how fast did it go from, hey, close the goddamn doors, to, you know what? You're right. This whole thing was a waste anyway. What's 10 years of my life?
What a roller coaster of emotion.
Yeah, the champagne's paid for. Champagne's paid for. We might as well finish the roller coaster on a high note.
Yeah, it's okay. No, it's not okay. You need marriage counseling, and you haven't even really been married yet.
Also, by the way, so on Genius or whatever, they say things like, you know, they categorize it verse 1, chorus, verse 2.
Yeah.
That's an insult to the concept of verses, because these are the same verses over and over and over again.
It's verse 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Yeah, it's just 1, maybe 3.
I was gonna say verse 1 and then verse 1. There is a 2, but they call it. They're very liberal with the way they and they just love that. Also, to one final point for me here on the lyric, the phrase "poise and rationality." Whenever they came up with that, they clearly loved it so much that they just kept working it in. It's like one of those things, like
poise and rationality. They pull it out. I'm like, okay, all right. I've heard
like a word a day calendar. You know what I mean? Where, like, you got to try to use it often.
How many times? Maybe they had a bet with themselves. How many times can we get both of these words in the song? Try me.
Maybe 5 times. No way you can do 5 times. Watch it. I'll do it 6 just to prove it to you. We're Panic at the Disco with an exclamation point for no reason.
Panic.
Nobody knows why I did that, so I'll do whatever I want.
Why would you have rationality at any other point?
I'll unpoison my rationality. I don't care. Call the Poison Control Center right now. Let them tell me what to do. It's my rationality.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That is way too many uses of that combination that I've never heard before anyway, which is why poisoned rationality is way more logical. Either way, final thoughts about Panic at the Disco.
I mean, no, really. I believe my sister, who I'm sure does not listen to this, is the one who put me on to this song. It's a catchy tune.
It is.
I think you're better off not watching the music video, quite frankly. But I like it. It's just, it's, you know what it is? It's when you really listen to it, which is what we're doing, it's too angry. Like, it's weirdly angry in a way that's like white angry, that's upsetting very quickly. You know what I mean? Like,
that's
that kind of like fat white angry that almost feels like you have no right to be this angry about this. And
that's fair.
What you're gonna do when you're done with the champagne is in verse 6. I don't want to be around for that.
There's a murder scene, and maybe that's why they did the music video, because that's what this man was feeling internally.
Yeah.
But he had to go into public and act with poise and rationality, which is way better than you and I would ever do on this podcast. So with that said, that's a wrap for another episode of That's What They Said. We will see you next time. You can catch us on YouTube. I also put together a playlist on Spotify, which is open to the public, so you can listen to all of the songs we've already covered there. You're welcome. And
she's also given away some of our future episodes, so those are on there too.
I think I fixed it, but if I didn't, there was a sneak peek.